A high-pitched cry for help by Problematic under Sasana on AO3. Chapter 25. Little Keys. After the funeral came a period of calmness that didn't feel right. The family had entered another routine, a calm, perfectly calculated one. Because of the threat, they had to put a lot of security, hidden security. They stayed in the apartment complex in hopes that whoever left the nail on their door would foolishly return and be caught red-handed. So, they opted to increase their security in ways the normal eye wouldn't notice. Their security system was updated, and the apartment next door was now occupied by another underground hero in disguise. There were also, always, a few officers near. No police cars, nor uniforms on site, as to not be noticed. Izuku didn't catch on to the change, at first, too tired with his grief to see anything around him. But soon, he started to grow suspicious. Whenever any of his dads left for work, someone else would come. At first it was just Auntie Namuri, but then it was other heroes that he could recognize. Tenya Ida also often came to visit with his brother Tensei, who he hadn't even noticed attended the service of his mother. Another hero, he thought. The windows were always closed. Understandable, since he escaped through one of them. But now they had a small metal security check on them. Finally, when he would go to UA to have his quirk counseling with Nezu, they used a different car, and there would be more people around the office and in the entrance, as if people were watching him. He tried his best to not grow paranoid, but the facts spoke for themselves. They were in danger, and putting two and two together, he decided, by himself, that it had to be Hisashi. Mike had also noticed that Izuku was acting differently. He was hiding more often in his room. He didn't ask for help to complete his hero analysis and would not let anyone but Nezu see them. Most importantly, he was growing nervous by the day, and it didn't take a genius to know it was due to the 24-hour surveillance disguised under friendly visits. There were also other factors that the couple had to consider with Izuku. He wasn't doing good with everything that happened, and they couldn't blame him for it. Since the funeral, Izuku became even more silent, shy, and even skittish. He would never ask for anything at all, only accepting things if offered, going as far as to not tell when he was hungry or when he had hurt himself playing with Ida. It was like suddenly the little light in his eyes he had gained over the months had dulled. Admittedly, there was not much they could do about it. Grief was an ugly process that could not be hurried up. They started offering things more often instead of waiting for him to make the first move. From simple snacks to asking if he wanted to sleep with them at night, which he accepted every time. The nightmares, as if he hadn't been having a rough time already, his sleep was filled with nightmares. Aizawa didn't really know when they started, nor did Izuku tell him, but one night, he just went to check on him randomly, only to find him tossing and turning in bed, forehead furrowed with sweat. It broke his heart that he cried so silently when he woke up. He was fixed in denying he wasn't okay, but he trembled under Aizawa's gentle touch, and a hug was all it took for him to fully indulge in his care. Aizawa slept with Izuku that night, being woken up 2 more times to the same scenario. God, the poor kid really couldn't catch a break. At breakfast, he obviously had some trouble connecting with reality, and after what Shouta saw last night, he made something up about his room needing remodeling to encourage him to not be embarrassed to sleep in between the couple. At the end of the day, they let Izuku choose a new wall color and let him draw on it, but even after that, he decided to keep sleeping warm and cuddly with the pro heroes. The playdates also helped him a lot. Tenya was a bit odd for a kid, but he absolutely adored playing with the greenette, and he always made sure to not bring things that would make him uncomfortable. He really was a nice kid. He helped Izuku improve and catch up with school, and in no time, it was Izuku who had to explain new things to him. The two cute nerds always had a blast learning about random subjects. Shouta almost choked on his coffee when he heard Izuku talking so very low and shy with him. After that, They became almost inseparable. Tenya would now be the one to insist on playdates, and Mac had started making jokes about him having a little crush on his cute son. Tensei overheard them, and he didn't say anything, just smiled at them. Interesting reaction. He would have to secure with Nezu that they go to the same class next year. Watching him make a close friend and be a kid almost made Shouta forget about his duty as a hero. Almost. When Namasa called with the weirdest news he could have heard over the phone, he had taken it almost as an offense to interrupt his quality family time. Shouta had almost so badly forgotten about it that the detective had to remind him about the keys he gave him to investigate. Right, the keys Izuku had. The keys looked a little funny, too chunky and heavy to be house keys, and too colorless to be a toy for a kid. Truth be told, Aizawa wasn't expecting anything to come out of it, so he gave them back to be checked for a chip or to look if they corresponded to something under the family name of Izuku. So, you don't know what they're for? The black-haired man stated tiredly. I do, but I also don't. He sighed over the phone, exasperated. It seems they are for S container, but, well, we don't know which one or what it has inside. So go check which one opens. He rolled his eyes, kind of already knowing it was not that simple. Or check in the database for any Midoriya, or Inko's maiden name. Already checked and there is nothing, so either your kid just found some random keys or it's under a fake name. Got it. He finished for him, watching back at how Izuku tried to sleep on Yamada's lap. He finished for him, watching back on how Izuku tried to sleep on Yamada's lap. I can't ask him. He has enough on his plate for his age. He says, even before the other man can make the suggestion. Well, you will have to, unless you want to try one by one on thousands of shipping containers Japan has. The silence extended a bit before he talked again. We both know that you don't keep old chairs in a container. It could very well help us find his father. I'm his father. Aizawa corrected. Voice irritable, and instantly regretted it. Even if he was stressed, there was no need for him to say something like that to Namayasa, who was nothing but helpful. Sorry. That was out of place. It's okay, I wouldn't be exactly happy if my kid was in danger, he said, jokingly. Aizawa could still remember how he made him think he had a son for months, just to find out that he had a huge dog named Yoki. He stayed silent for a minute. Yoki had probably received better care than Izuku had with his parents. With parents that shitty, he just couldn't fathom the idea of them giving a kid a key that could actually be valuable or useful. Maybe he really just found them around. No one in their right mind would give something important for a kid to lose. Even worse, if you treat your own kid like shit. Are you still there? Aizawa looked back at Izuku. He wasn't just any kid. He could be trusted. But Izuku didn't trust anyone. So he would probably not give the key to just anyone. Not even the police. And what police officer would search up a kid that young? Invisible dots started to connect in his mind, racing like the wind. What if someone gave them to him to avoid police finding them if they were to be caught? Can you look up if any container is under Deku? He knew it was a stretch, but there was nothing wrong with following his gut every once in a while. As in useless, I guess? The line went quiet, while he could hear the computer keyboard being used with a bit too much force. He heard a gasp, and more background noise. How did you know that? Let your team know. I would like to see what's in there as soon as possible. And then, the line went dead. It kind of felt like he was going to open a Pandora's box. He just hoped it was a jewelry one. Yeah, no, the fact that it was referenced as a Pandora's box, whatever's in there, they're gonna open it and they're gonna be like, oh, well, this man needs to be sent to Tartarus. They're gonna open it and be like, oh, well, we need to catch this man now because the safety of the community and Japan as a whole is probably in danger. Or Masafu, is that what they are? Masafu, whatever. Point taken is Masafu. Yeah, no, definitely. The fact that it was referenced as Pandora's box. Yeah, no, that ain't some low stakes. That is high stakes shit. That is high stakes shit. If I know anything about Greek mythology and anything about, authors referencing Greek mythology, is that the second they mention Pandora's box or something as serious as something like that, that's not. No, not happening. But on a lighter note, can we talk about the fact that there was that little moment where Mike was joking about Ida having a crush on Izuku, and Tensei was like, oh, smile, not gonna say anything, but silence speaks more than my words. That is adorable. I think little kid crushes are adorable because they're not like real crushes. I mean, like, when I was a little kid, I would always go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by a toe. I don't know the rest of this. Eeny, meeny, miny, you. Or something along the lines. I would always add, I don't know the rest of this, because I never knew the rest of it. Or I would go either that one, or I would go, zapatito blanco, zapatito azul. Dime cuántos años tienes tú. And then that's how I would choose. That one was the Spanish version, which... if we translate it to English, that is very weird. Yeah, that's very weird. But, that's always how I chose my crushes, so. Actually, I probably should not be the judge if childhood crushes and, little kid crushes are real crushes or not, considering I'm demi-romantic. Yeah, no, never mind. Don't listen to me. It could be a real, honest crush. And I wonder if this is a hint that, in the future of this fic, obviously, I don't know if we're going to have an epilogue. Sometimes we have epilogues, sometimes we don't. I don't know if we're going to have an epilogue with this one. But even if we don't have an epilogue or if we don't have a continuance, we don't. I don't think there's a continued. Yeah, no, this is a one thingy. Yeah. Even if we don't have a continued version of this or whatever, it's, from that small little interaction, we could probably guess that if the author was to continue this, it would be an Izuku x Ida ship. Which, childhood friends to lovers. That's a nice, cute, trope. I love that trope. I'm writing that trope. It's not BKDK, though. Ooh, surprise, shocker. But, yeah. Yeah, okay. This was so cute. I can't wait to see more of it. I wonder if we're gonna have an epilogue now. I gotta check that. Hold up. The next chapter is actually called A Useful Hobby. Oh, God. Okay. Useful Hobby. That's interesting. Chapter 30, yeah, I don't... See, that name can go with having an epilogue, and that's just how it's called, but I don't think we're gonna have an epilogue in this one. So, yeah, no epilogue. Sorry, buddies, no epilogue this time around. But, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.